Duke4005, back again with another performance review, this time with the Under Armour Curry 1. I know it's been reviewed to death on all the sites, but I just couldn't resist. It's too good to pass up. Definitely in my top 5 shoes so far this year. So if you've already seen too much on it, don't want to hear any more, skip past this. If you haven't and you'd like to try to learn something more, stick around, we'll get right into it. As always, we'll get into the materials first, and this shoe we're introduced to 2 new materials to Under Armour. We've got charged foam in the midsole on top of your Micro G, and then we've got anti-foam making up the upper. Now, the upper is made up of a canvas ballistic type mesh, and the anti-foam backs that mesh. You can see the dimpled areas here. That's your anti-foam, and those are in areas of high stress where you need a really good fit, solid fit, lockdown. And what I found on these is the hotter my foot got inside the shoe, the more malleable this anti-foam became. And a couple of times I did have to lace up a little bit tighter after playing for a little while, but I got used to it and learned how to lace from the start so they didn't get loose while I was playing. They're in high stress areas, they form around your foot, and it really gives the upper a nice tight one-to-one feel. Going into the charged foam, I'm sure most of you read by now, and we'll get into it more in the cushioning, but charged is a type of foam that's supposed to enhance the Micro G. It's supposed to be soft as you're standing around and not very active. And then as you're active, it becomes more dense and more solid, giving you a better platform for takeoffs and for landings. We also have a tight fuse area around the toe right here for all you Euro steppers that like to drag that toe through the lane. Yes, it's a travel. No, it's not a travel. Who knows what it is, but everybody's doing it now. This will help you get over it and help your shoe not to tear up as you make that move. We also have a wide celled mesh in the tongue for some ventilation. We've got some holes in the toe and on the medial side here that don't really do a whole lot, but the wide mesh right here on the tongue keeps the top of the foot pretty happy. And then you've got the anti-foam ballistic nylon mesh making up the top part of the tongue to take away any lace pressure. Going from materials into fit, first off, the shoe does fit true to size. I wear a 10.5 in everything. Everything I wear is a 10.5. Kobe's, Durant's, LeBron's, it doesn't matter. Rose's, everything is a 10.5. This is a 10.5. I've seen some people on the other message boards griping about the fit within the midfoot right here. It's okay to loosen the laces, people. When you bring it out of the box, it's not laced for your foot. Loosen the laces, it works. Trust me. The heel fit is solid, and it's due mostly to the cut. How the ankle collar will wrap up around your foot. You can see it's cut a little bit higher, not quite as high as the clutch fit drive, actually nowhere near as high as the clutch fit drive, but it performs the same. It wraps around with the tongue and locks your foot in. Also helping in that area, if you can see it on the camera, are these 2 little pads in the back of the ankle. We've seen that in numerous shoes before, most recently the Jordan 29 and the Hyper Rev 2015. It really just locks it in right there around your Achilles, where the shoe doesn't slide up and down at all. Cushioning is next, and for those of you who haven't read my reviews or watched a review before, I love Micro G. It's low, it's dense, it's bouncy, it's responsive, it's everything a foam cushioning should be. Under Armour took the Micro G this time and introduced us the charged foam. Now again, going back to the charged definition, it is supposed to be soft, plush, cushioned while standing still, and then as activity takes place, your foot pushes off on it, it stiffens up, and it reminds me of a foam that I reviewed a couple of years ago in a shoe called the Ball and Layup. I reviewed it for a different website, and what that was designed to do was the same thing. It was soft, and it moved around with your body as you needed it to, but then when an impact hit it, it stiffened up and became solid. What they used it for, as well as the cushioning in that shoe, was in ski suits for the British Olympic ski team. And they were telling the stories of when they would hit trees and tree limbs that the D30 cushioning would stop that impact. I'm not sure what the charged, if it would perform the same way, but it feels a lot like that same cushioning. The one bad part of that deadening feeling is I did feel like the charge took away some of the bounciness of the Micro G. The impact protection was still there, the responsiveness was still there, but the bounce, the initial step-in bounce of the clutch fit drive and the Micro G Pro seemed to be deadened a bit. Now for some that might be a problem, but in my case I really kind of liked it. Now I love the responsiveness and the bounce of the Micro G, but I also kind of enjoyed this too because it gave me a stable platform for takeoffs. Anybody that's ran track before and ran sprints, you know that starter's block, when you take off, it's solid. It gives you something to push off of. And that's kind of what I felt with the Charged on top of the Micro G. It gave me a solid platform for taking off, whereas the Micro G kind of sinks in a little bit and may delay your step just a slight fraction. These, I didn't have that. It felt solid when I pushed off of it, but still when I landed from jumps, there was no impact at all going up my knees or up my back. Another element I really love about Under Armour and what they do is anytime you see these orange insoles, you can be assured these are Micro G insoles. Some companies have been skimping out on the insoles lately, putting cheap, thin polyurethane insoles that have to be replaced in them. Under Armour is not doing that. This is a true cushioning element that they've added on top of the Micro G and the Charged G insole. Under Armour, thumbs up from me. Good job, don't cheap out. Going to the traction next. Under Armour Clutch Fit Drive. Watch the review. That's it. Not really. I couldn't get that cheap out of this. It is multi-directional herringbone. The tread is not very thick itself, but it is pretty pliable. It's going to pick up dirt and dust pretty quickly, but a couple of quick swipes and you're good to go. The good thing about picking up the dust and the dirt, well, there is no good thing about picking it up, but this outsole, it has the herringbone completely heel to toe. So if you pick up more dust in maybe this area, but not this area for some reason, then you're still going to have good traction coming out of it. I wouldn't recommend these outdoors for very long. Like I said, the traction is pretty shallow, you can see here. So I think it will wear out pretty quick. But if you just got to play one day and you're outdoors and you've got these with you, you should be okay for a couple of hours every once in a while. Now we'll go into support, and the main piece of the support is going to come from this heel cup with the 30 SC logo on the back. It looks like it would be a stiff metallic heel cup, but it's really pretty pliable from this point up. It's just basically a stiff rubber, and then here where it comes in towards the midsole, it becomes a little more stiff and a little more supportive. And you know, with Mr. Glass Ankles running around in Golden State, he's got to have those support systems to keep his feet upright. It does actually run to here on the outside, but it runs through here into the midfoot support piece. When I took the insole out, I could tell that. And this midfoot support piece comes from about this part of the shoe and runs down to right here. So it's completely covered solid under your midfoot. And as you can see from the old Professor K bend the wrong way plantar fasciitis test, they're not bending very well. So that's a good thing. Don't think that's bad, that's good. The rest of the support basically comes from the cut of the shoe and from the lacing system. I really like the way Under Armour did these laces. The Micro G Pro had like the Jordan flat web system with the small nylon laces coming through it. For the Curry, they put these wider, thicker lace holes, and it really allows the shoe to pull up tight around the foot a little bit better and doesn't give that pressure along the lines like the Micro G Pro did just a little bit. Another element on the support side is going to be this wider midsole outsole that flares out a little bit. You can see there's a slight flare giving you that larger crash pad when you land. And then there's also an outrigger, just a little slight outrigger right here on the front that'll keep your forefoot from rolling over. So anything that'll help Curry keep from having to wear those Frankenstein ankle braces, good for him. So that about wraps us up for the Under Armour Curry 1. Pound for pound, dollar for dollar, this is one of the top shoes on the market today. If you're looking for great responsive cushioning, great traction, great fit, great total overall package, this shoe cannot be beat. Pricing is right at $120 for a signature shoe. That's unbelievable, especially with one with this much technology thrown into it. Colorways that are out now are pretty much sold out. If you get a chance to grab a colorway that you really like, I would suggest getting it because they're selling out just every time they release. Again, Under Armour, great job. There were some down years in there. We were worried about you. Nice comeback. Appreciate the effort, fellas, and stick around. Another review coming soon. Thanks, guys.